are back. Gentlemen, it is wonderful to see you here on the Biconics Review of Honor, where we sit here and we review Ring of Honor for this week, which was on, of course, the 1st of February, 2024. We are excited to be back with you in BC WrestlePod land. Thank you again for subscribing to the channel, clicking that alert bell to get all of our notifications when things come out, dropping those comments down there about things you love, things you hate, how we all booked that amazing Women's Continental Classic on our last podcast. Want to definitely hear about that, and anything else you'd like to do with that, and following all of us on the socials as well. I am JVL. We have Jesse. We've got Mikey. We've got Andrew. We have the full crew back in the house for, honestly, a Ring of Honor that had a better crowd reaction than all of AEW over the last 2 weeks. It is crazy to think that they can draw better and have better in a smaller amount of crowd than anything of their big brother and sister can. Gentlemen, did you enjoy the show this week at all? Just before we get to any of the review or anything else.
I enjoyed the show, and I'm very glad you are back this week, because I did not do as well hosting as you just did in that 35 seconds where you didn't take a breath.
Just got to stop, put yourself down, because then I'm going to take the mic away from you. You got to stop doing it. Mikey, Andrew, was it a good show for you this week? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I thought it was fun. It definitely coming out of last week. Last week was very long and drawn out. This week was a lot more fun and entertaining. I think hopefully it seems like they're picking back up the momentum, so let's keep going that direction.
No.
This was a fun show. Period.
I will also preface this beforehand. Some of us do watch the AEW product as well as this, and we have noticed that we have to turn our brains off slightly as we watch ROH now, because all the ROH talent that's being brought up to be used in AEW segments are, well, I mean, I had it written down here. They lose. They're considered not as good. They get beaten up by people coming in, or they're playing the opposite of what they're playing in ROH, like Red Velvet tonight, where Red Velvet was the babyface when she's a heel in AEW. So It's very confusing when you're the same brand, and yet your product in ROH is superior to what you're basically shooting them up to.
Just call it what it is. They're using the ROH talent as cannon fodder.
Yep.
And yet they're making them look good. But you know what else looks good, gentlemen? Dalton Castle's debut jumpsuit. Even in the state it's in, where he has been living in it for over 2 months, he started this promo off with Lexi checking in on him again, and he's sneaking up to try to get the TVs in the commissary room, only to have a trap sprung on him that Jerry Lynn is randomly standing there. This was a great way to open the show, but I also felt the acting was a bit wooden from Jerry Lynn. I was like, come on, dude.
Yeah.
You got your lines, say your lines.
I love this. This was a great way to start the show for me. I will agree Jerry Lynn felt was like an odd choice there. It was like, why are you hiding behind the door? But for me, the person who stole this promo is some of the Taya Valkyrie throwaway lines. She's stealing the spot, like telling, last week he threw cheese at me and it hit me right in the face, and it was Kraft. It wasn't even Gruyere, and she was genuinely upset over that. And then her calling out and clean that suit, it stinks, as she's leaving. That was the best part of the promo. I mean, we got some meat in the promo there of there's going to be a match next week with Johnny TV and Dalton's friend. And this is like, okay, now I'm intrigued. Now I have to watch next week because I don't know who Dalton's friend is, and I want to find out.
And his friend's going to Slam Town, apparently.
I think, to be fair to Jerry Lynn, yeah, it was a little awkward, but I feel like he's also really in an uphill battle with this, because he's got Dalton Castle, he's got Lexi, he's got the TVs, and I mean, those are some of the best on the mic performers that they have in Ring of Honor. So, it's not going to help him much, but I thought it was great, and I have to say I'm very happy that we don't have smell-o-vision, because Dalton Castle's wearing that funk really well.
Anytime Dalton Castle is on my Ring of Honor screen, I am always going to have a good time. This was fun. And I got to echo what Jesse said, because Taya made me crack up so much during this too. She's just, I'm like, Taya, you're very good at just being quippy. You just sling these out. I loved it so much. It was so good.
I was going to say, on AEW TV, she's not allowed to talk. She's just there to get beat up. So It's very strange.
Hey, we agree. That match was really good between her and Deanna on Dynamite. Don't do that to them. I agree with you that Taya shouldn't be losing on Dynamite.
Yeah.
But it was more than a squash match. That was a art to me.
Hey, brains off. We're focusing on Ring of Honor.
I was like, let's not go down that rabbit hole. I have a whole lot of opinions about that. I've already shared in the text, so
That'll be on Patreon later for anyone else that wants to get it from Andrew's entire rant on video. But we moved on from this wonderful promo to get to our first match of the evening. Spanish Announce Project is taking on Cameron and Alan Russell, the Russell twins. And I was pleasantly surprised by how the Russell twins did in this, and to see kind of a little more investment from Angelico and Serpentico in their match. It was really fun to kind of have that go on.
I was, like you, surprised at the quality of this match. I thought, oh, again, no entrance is going to be a squash match, but this was definitely more of an enhancement match. I really liked Caprice and Riccaboni kind of pushing and building the prestige behind the tag teams as they're having more tag team matches. And since the belts are back and actually being defended, was very happy about that. Andrew looks like he's going to explode, so I'm going to keep going with my point and then run away. Angelico's submission at the end was just absolutely a thing of beauty. I like Serpentico's black mask. I know there's a whole lot of meaning behind that. I'm sure Mikey could fill us in on. And then I really like the point at the end where the Mama's Boys came out. Cole was still wearing the mask because to me, hey, look, we're continuing a story. I was very, very happy about that.
Yeah. I did catch Caprice talking about that, and it frustrated me a little bit.
Shield.
Because we talk about the legitimacy of tag teams that we have here and all this stuff, and why are we getting yet again another thrown together tag team? And we can talk about it later. They tried to bring some history to it, but we have yet another tag team thrown together, getting a proving ground match against the tag team champions. I'm happy they're there, but I'd like to see them against an actual tag team. This is 2 weeks in a row that, or at least, 2 matches in a row for Undisputed Kingdom. We've seen them in proving ground against people who are not tag teams. It just didn't start me off well, but the tag team action was really good. I agree. I thought this was a great chance for the Russells to really show what they could do. And there were spots where I noticed that SAP were actually kind of helping guide them, like they were directing a little bit, but they were working. It wasn't like a degrading thing or anything like that. Like they were working really well together. So I thought it was a great show for that. It was a good match for everyone involved. I did think Mikey was probably going to be upset about the Mama's Boy showing up with Cole Carter wearing that mask. But story-wise, I appreciate what they're doing with that. But yeah, don't tell me that we're going to appreciate the legitimacy of tag team and legit tag teams, and then have put together tag teams fighting for tag title shots and beating established tag teams. And we'll talk about that later, but justice for the outrunners too.
I have one other question for you, Andrew, because you are the expert on this one. So I saw 2 Serpenticos at the end of this, obviously. Does this now mean that Cole Carter is also Serpentico, and like multiple people are playing the role?
Serpentico dos.
Dos, okay.
Yeah.
That makes me feel better then. So now I can see, there isn't a lot of confusion, and it's just, evil Serpentico and
good
douchey Serpentico.
Yeah.
Oy vey. Okay, first the match, and then I'll get into what happened afterwards.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this match. I think I've been a big fan of, Spanish Announce Project since we've gotten them in Ring of Honor, but they have become one of my favorite staples in Ring of Honor. They're up there with the Outrunners for me, just because I'm like, don't be fooled. They might be SAP might be laid back. The Outrunners are hokey, and their gimmick is kind of corny in the best way possible. They are actually really good tag teams. And this was a fun enhancement match, as Jesse said. Now, when the Mama's Boys came out, I will admit, there is a small part of me that still didn't appreciate Cole Carter, wearing the mask. But I wasn't upset about this one, only because the mask is still in one piece. Which is, while I still don't like it being pulled off and being worn around like a trophy, it makes sense in the context of the story, because they're basically Griff Garrison and Cole Carter are frat boy heels, kind of, is essentially what we're going for.
The beauty of him wearing that mask is can't really talk, and we've learned that Cole Carter not talking helps him so much.
We're kind of Cole Carter's kind of growing on us, where we don't necessarily hate it as much as we used to. That's only because he's talking less. So using it sparingly
That
is
doesn't
okay.
counter my point at all. That enhances my point.
Speaking of enhancing a point, because we'll move on from what we've got here, we move on to one of the MVPs of this year so far of Ring of Honor in Nyla
Emmy
Rose.
Camacho.
Yes, Emmy Camacho.
So good.
So I'll set this up as it is. We knew a squash was coming because Nyla Rose was coming out to take on Emmy Camacho. She's wearing Athena's vest, which I love as well. Let's really point that off.
Catch
That's the
that.
whole point
It was
there.
so good.
But what I actually enjoyed about this made story sense. If I see Nyla take on Athena's students week after week, running them down, that's a squash I want to see because they're students. They should not be beating a professional wrestler who's been out for a couple of years. And the fact that it's Athena's students draws that storyline in even more without Athena being there. So having Emmy have a decent little bit of flurry, a little bit of offense, and then Nyla just completely destroying her worked well in my estimation.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think, I like that they told us that she was one of Athena's students. I'm kind of okay with Nyla going on kind of this squatch run because my first thought was, oh, she's basically like doing what Wardlow did, is just going to blow through people. The difference is the character quality that she is getting in promos and even in the ring. In this squatch, there was one moment where she did that dive and she like looked to the hard cam for a moment. It was just like great little bits that she throws in that makes it entertaining and continues to tell the story that she's been telling. And that, I don't know if she's used that finisher before, that kind of torture rack into a cutter, but that was awesome. I'd love to see her use that more. It was quick and fast, but it told the story and it showed us more of Nyla both physically and mentally, and it was I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I agree. I think she definitely needs to keep that torture rack cutter. That thing was beautiful, and there's so many power bombs out there. It's something that's different and sets it apart slightly. The whole time I'm watching this match, I was enjoying it. I agree with all the points that were made, but I kept thinking, Nyla's playing with her food. That's all this match is. She's playing with her food.
Which to me makes a lot of sense because this is her food. She owns everything Athena has. Of course she's going to play with it. Of course she's going to screw around with everybody else. She wants Billy to get out there. She's trying to entice Billy to come down and challenge her. Like, it's a whole big thing.
I love Nyla Rose. Look, what has it been like? Only about a month since Nyla Rose has come to Ring of Honor, and she's had this is her best run, and that's saying something because she's a AEW original. She was there at the formation of this company, and this is her best run yet. See what happens when you let people actually have creative control and direction of their characters.
You know what's a long con in this business, though, is a manager who thinks he can wrestle. Because we moved on to our next match with the Iron Savages and Jack Jameson, who was cleanly shaven and looked even weirder. Like,
I did not like that. They broke the number one rule of having facial hair. You shaved it.
Right? But taking on Braxton Hunter, KM, and not Serpentico, John Cruz. Man needs 2 paychecks, and I did ask, so is he getting paid for both characters? Is this like a 1 paycheck kind of thing? Like,
imagine if he was. That'd be kind of great.
Yeah.
What if he got paid at 2 different rates, though? Like, Serpentico got a higher pay rate than
He should. He should.
Player versus an enhancement talent. It makes sense.
Okay, but like, I'm kind of becoming a John Cruz, like, on the bandwagon for this one. I was just like, that match against Jack Cartwheel has made me like John Cruz even more. I was like, okay, this could be very fun.
And John Cruz was also playing it up on the ring apron before he entered, too. Like, I'm not Serpentico. No, that's not right.
Yeah.
And he's healing it up in a lot of ways to really offset Iron Savages, who looked like they were having a lot of fun until Jack Jameson got in and was trying to show off a little bit. He's getting better week by week because he's getting the reps in, but he's holding them back.
I don't want to counter that point 100%.
Okay.
I do believe he is holding them back. He's a good mouthpiece. He's not a good wrestler. But they are learning from that because they had him in at the beginning of the match, and that was it. He did a pump handle slam, which actually looked really good and safe for him. I was very impressed by that. And then he tagged out, and that was it for him in the match. So I think they're learning, hey, he's very green. He needs more work in the ring before he can do these long-term or later tags. So they got his stuff out of the way in the beginning. So yes, he is holding them back, but they're learning how to work with him.
They did give him a pump handle slam, though. which if that was in WWE, that means they don't care about you and they don't think you're going to do anything at all because he gave you a long setup move, which is hysterical to me. Also, Caprice and Ian at the end going, it's really strange when the manager or the valet or the other thing starts to want to wrestle and you got to put him in there and they're just as jacked as you are. I'm like, okay, so you've called it out that he's also not technically a wrestler on the thing.
I wrote in these notes when they said that, I was just like, Caprice, don't lie to me. I was like, don't lie to me. There were 2 instances where I wrote in my notes, Caprice, don't lie to me.
I will agree. I think they used him wisely in this match because they didn't use him much. And he's great to have on the apron because it makes him a part of the match. It allows him to feed.
I'm included.
And it allows him to play to the audience, which is what he's really good at. And like that toss at the end, what's it called? The sauce toss.
Sauce toss.
The way the air that they got on who was it that got hit in that Hunter?
Yep.
Yeah, he just got thrown up into the lights and across the ring. So, it is fun the way that they're being able to use him. And then after the match, Jameson had a moment with the fan and so even though he's not as skilled in the ring as the other Iron Savages, he's still bringing something and they're using him minimally. And, I brought this up before. I believe he his professional debut was 2 years ago or something. So he's super new, and the sport he came from, he was a bodybuilder, fitness kind of in that area. So it's a very different realm. So he's kind of learning on the job, but it doesn't help that he's with 2 really great performers who have been doing this and doing it together for a long time. So I thought it was good. I thought it was a good use. It was smart to use him sparingly.
He is the road dog of the Iron Savages.
I dig it. I mean, this ended up being what exactly I've wanted Iron Savages needed for the longest time. The fact they've been on a consistent losing streak. As much as I would complain, I was like, I want them in a longer match, but this served its purpose. They picked up a win. I'm hoping they continue this winning streak because I want more for our big beat.
They're going to take it until they actually get up against an actual team, and then we'll see how that goes.
Yep.
We moved on from that wonderful match to a promo that I was worried at the beginning wasn't going to keep my attention, and then I related wholeheartedly to it because being a father and him, Ethan Page talking about how his gear was inspired by his daughter's favorite colors and really bring it into that kind of truthful realm, whether it's truthful or not. It hit me in the dad buttons, and I'm very, not the mommy daddy buttons, but the dad buttons. And I want Ethan Page to succeed that much more. It was really endearing.
As a fellow girl dad, I can relate to that. I like this promo solely for that fact. If I take that out of it, I don't know how well it lands, but at least landed for me. It didn't push my dad buttons.
I can push your dad buttons.
Your dad bod?
That's for the Patreon.
Exactly.
As not dad, I also understood because, just obviously being around dads, obviously having my own dad and things like that, I understand what that would mean to someone, especially when he's made this promise and all that stuff. I thought it was funny because my first thought was I love his new gear. That gear is fire. It was really cool. And then him telling that story and going okay, well, now it's even better. Now now that's what I want to see him in, and I'm buying into it. But he delivered it in a way that had some sentiment to it, but also that still played into the all ego-ness of it. So I thought it did what it was supposed to do, and now there's a little bit of extra connection to when we see him in that gear or those colors or any of that kind of stuff.
Very much so. Mikey, also, you're not a father as well, but I feel like you enjoyed this as well. I could see in your eyes.
He's a father.
That is true. He's the father of all of us. He's our daddy.
I might as well be. Shoot, it's like corralling children with the 9 of you.
You don't say that.
I say it out of love, though. I wouldn't say anything I don't truly mean out of love. But as someone who was raised by a parent that was both mom and dad for most of their lives, I understand the power of promises because that is something that I hold dearly just in my own regards to. And that's something that, I was taught growing up is that whatever you do is that if you're gonna, it's not just about saying you're about something. Actions need to be backed up by it. So actions and words need to be they need to be on the same spectrum of the coin, so to speak. Is like you can talk the talk, but you also got to walk the walk. Now, do I think Ethan Page is going to win this championship? Perfect world, I would love to see that. I don't know though if we're ready to kind of take this out of Kyle Fletcher's hands, because I think he's just getting started with this run and I want to see more from him. But do I think that when the inevitable collision happens between these two, oh, it's going to be beautiful. The promo itself was adorable. As someone who works with 9 children of my own here at the Bi-Conics, but also as an educator in general, and I have multiple kids that I take care of, not just educational wise, but also their social emotional needs as well. This one hit home for me because I was like, I love a good wrestler who is also a family man. And I can't help but root for Ethan Page. I was like, man, you can't. And I want him to keep this purple and pink color scheme because it actually is different and I like it.
But we move on from there to, I know I'm going to get crap for this. This was my match of the night.
I figured.
It was not the cleanest match. It was not the best match on the
entrance
card.
alone, though.
It wasn't even the entrance, Mikey. The story that was told in the ring and the switch when it was turned, when Dalton finally woke up, you can see the mastery of the craft in that. You can see a wrestler who knows what his body does in space and how he can work a partner to tell that kind of story without looking like he's botching everything. It was really well put together in that respect. Also, very much enjoyed the entrance with the water that's then poured out for the boys, who were the Russell twins, Andrew.
Yeah.
That was the Russell twins as the new boys there. And then I also enjoyed Caprice saying, where does he get the cheese from? Followed up by Riccaboni going, I'm always concerned about Dalton Castle's package, which is just a fun way to set stuff up in there as well.
After talking about how much he paid attention to the amount of Dalton Castle's chest hair that was there, because he was not clean shaven and you could see the stubble.
The stubble. I also did notice they said he was wrestling out of Rochester, New York, not the Catalina Islands. So he's devolving back to old Dalton Castle, even his entrance stuff from the announcer. It's genius to see this because it's playing on all levels of it at once. And if you don't catch it, it doesn't take away from it.
So I did enjoy this. I do have a couple counterpoints.
Sure.
I have a new name that I know you don't like, but since he is the way he's acting, this isn't Dalton Castle. This is Distraughton Castle because he is distraught in all of his acting now. He's so very much into his character work, and he's very good at it. I was concerned for him because that first time he went over the top, he smashed his face right on the ground, and it was almost like a Taka out of the Royal Rumble style. I thought he concussed himself.
Yeah.
I was slightly disappointed in this match, honestly, because I wanted it to go longer. Your points are valid, and I agree with you. Dalton Castle, top 5 character work in any wrestling promotion right now. But I wanted the match to go longer.
Yeah, I agree. That bump he took out of the ring, I thought he really hurt himself, and I was happy to see him back up and moving, but you could even see the red on his face from where he hit. I think we're really lucky that he is a veteran like he is. I love that when he came in, and I think it was when Aaron Solo didn't shake his hand or something, and he said, "That's bad manners." I just love that stuff from Dalton Castle. I also like the fact that when he's with Lexi, just Lexi, he's oftentimes very distraught. But I like that he's not going too far into when he's in his matches and stuff, not too far into the kind of Orange Cassidy kind of doesn't care kind of attitude, but instead it makes him more angry. And so at first he's just kind of whatever, but then once he hits some, adversity, he starts to get mad, and that kind of plays well into it. And I like that because it does give us some interesting dichotomy between how he's going and kind of where they could easily have gone with him. And I still love that at the end, he still was connecting with fans. When he kind of had his slow walk through, he was still interacting with people and having that good connection, which I really like about Ring of Honor performers. There's a couple that came up later too that I was just really happy the way that you see them interact with the fans. And I think that's super important, and that's something that really makes Ring of Honor really special.
As far as the match itself, I don't have too much to say. I thought this was really, really fun. This was not my match of the night, and I will go as far to say as I love the in-ring storytelling, but as far as character work, this was not my character work moment of the night. That comes next. No, I'm in the minority when I say this. I like seeing Aaron Solo here in Ring of Honor. I think because with the bloated roster currently where he was beforehand, I think being able to work in Ring of Honor just gives him a different utilitarian purpose in a way, I guess is the best way to put it.
We're engaged with a certain wrestler when she does promos with Lexi Nair. Nyla Rose, my God, like
this is my promo of the night.
God, I can't even every beat was hit correctly. The throwbacks and breaking the fourth wall to Lexi, like talking about where Billy is, the change in gears. She has been wasted for years in AEW where she hasn't been able to do this type of stuff.
I didn't think the promo that started the night with Dalton Castle and the TVs was going to be beat. This blew it out of the water. This was amazing. And I have a couple statements to make, and I say this with all due respect. Nyla Rose, you are incredible. Please don't come in and harm me. Please don't beat down Lexi like that. I thought I loved her outfit, and then you called her the Quaker Oats man. I was like, no, now I can't unsee that. So this whole illusion shattered thing.
She's good for your heart.
I was thinking more Colonel Sanders, but
a little bit.
No, hey, get out of here. You don't talk about Lexi like that. She's a gem. Lexi sells feel really well, and Nyla Rose can be absolutely terrifying when she looks right down the camera lens.
I loved at some point Nyla was talking about Athena's actions and minions and all that kind of stuff, and she called them dumb, and then Lexi just like under her breath, that's not dumb. And then Lexi almost broke when Nyla was just kept tapping her in the chin, and she's like, isn't that right, Lexi? And it was just like so good. It's so entertaining. It's so fun. Like really, we would have the best promos in professional wrestling on Ring of Honor, even if it was just the Nyla Rose, Athena, Lexi, Billy storyline and the Dalton Castle and the TV storyline. Those sets of promos that we get every week from those group of performers is incredible. It's amazing.
It really, really is. So, strapping kids, we're about to go to class real quick. So, this hat comes on when I talk about some writing in terms of characters, storylines, and things like that. But normally, it is to critique bad storytelling and bad character work. I'm here to give praise because this is how we do character work proper. For those of us that have been following Nyla Rose for a very long time, her current character arc in Ring of Honor is exactly like her social media game. Like, she is this funny on the internet. There's a reason she has been voted by wrestling magazines like best social media of the year for like 2 years in a row. What I appreciate about Nyla Rose in this iteration is that there is a duality to her character in depth. She could be hilarious. She could be funny. She almost broke Lexi a couple of times. The one moment I caught is as she was listening to Lexi kind of try to not tell her where Billy was. It was a really quick thing, but I picked up on it where Nyla just turns to the camera out of the corner of her eye and just goes, and then goes back into it. She just looks at the camera like, girl, what?
So we were asking, but we didn't want to interrupt, but we had to figure this out. Do we remember what she called the cameraman? Because that was the one last thing I couldn't write down or remember what she called him.
Oh, she called him the John Legend.
Yes.
That's what it was, the John Legend looking cameraman.
Yeah.
I had to pause because I was crying of laughter. This is how we do good character work. This is how you add depth to characters. And I'm just putting it out there. This is what happens when you allow the wrestlers to have creative control of how they present themselves.
We do then go on to the match we alluded to earlier in the evening, which was the Proving Ground match with a thrown together tag team versus the Undisputed Kingdom. The Righteous were later on in the evening. This was, though, for a thrown together tag team, because they were NJPW strong folks and they've also worked together. Fred Rosser and Filthy Tom Lawlor, we're going to take this to the limit, and I was actually enjoying the fact that they got down to the last couple of minutes they had. I wish there had been a timer to show us that, but it really took it there. I thought it would be amazing in my head where we get someone that gets through the proving ground, and instead of stopping the match there, it just turns into a tag team match, and then they get destroyed and lose because they beat this. If you want that to be that squash part of it, they do finally beat that proving ground timing thing and still lose.
Yeah, I mean, I liked that commentary did what they could to make them make sense as a tag team. They both did great. I do feel like Tom Lawlor like hurt his left knee at some point because he was able to move on it, but then when he would stop, you would see him kind of like favoring it. You know, I talked about it last week. I talked about at the beginning of the show about throwing these teams together. I will say at least we're getting to see these titles actually be displayed on Ring of Honor. Even if they're not being defended, at least we're getting to see proving ground matches that are supposed to have some meaning to them. Did we bury the pure honor in someone's backyard, or pure title in someone's backyard? Is it like, did it get lost in Eddie Kingston's bag of countless titles? Like, what is going on with these other titles that we don't even see anymore?
They're being sacrificed to BCC because Wheeler's still got it, so who knows?
Yeah. I thought the Devil's Jackets that I hadn't really seen before on Undisputed Kingdom were super cool. I liked those. Matt Taven hitting the apron that first time, it sounded like a gunshot went off in the arena. It was pretty crazy. And I liked that the what I was calling them, the Filthy Misters, that they did a good showing. I thought, you know, they obviously have similar styles. They've worked together, so they know each other. But if we're going to see that, let's see them do that against another tag team. If we're going to do these proving ground matches, there's plenty of other teams that could get this, win that opportunity, just like a, you know, various briefcase symbols, whatever, pick your chance when you get to fight the champion thing, and then let them go and lose if they're not going to take the title off the champions, but make these proving ground matches mean something.
I like this match. I thought it was a very hard-hitting match. I think my favorite spot was the Tom Lawlor, what was it, the battering ram bulldog into the corner spot. I thought that was pretty creative. I hadn't seen that before. Totally lost my train of thought there. Oh, that's what it was. Andrew, I'm making Mikey and Andrew here, I'm making a non-executive executive decision here. Andrew will be naming all of the thrown together tag teams from now on. He gave us the Mama's Boys. He gave us the Filthy Misters. So that's it. Andrew gets to name them from now on.
Seconded.
Sweet.
Mikey, do we get a vote on this, or is this? No, wait, never mind. This is not a democracy.
I mean, I am
You're El Jefe here.
as the residential tag team expert, of course. Duh, that's like a given. So, Andrew, welcome. You have a new position. You're naming all the tag teams between all the reviews that you do now.
I've asked for it 3 weeks ago. I asked for it 2 weeks ago. I asked for it last week. So I'm going to speak directly here. Tony, please don't listen to any of their lies and listen to my truth. Give us a timer for the Proving Grounds match. Thank you.
I feel that currently, across the whole entire universe that is Ring of Honor and AEW, specifically Ring of Honor, I like seeing the Kingdom in action because it makes me forget that they are stuck in the sequel that was the MJF universe. Now it's the Adam Cole Bebe universe now with everything. I disagree with Andrew a little bit. The Black Jackets are kind of basic bitch mentality. I'm biased. I like Tom Lawlor. Filthy Tom Lawlor is one of my favorites. I'm actually happy to see him wrestle. I just need him to stop getting hurt or looking like he hurt himself, because ever since the summer of 2023, he has just had a string of not being able to compete when he was supposed to. This match was great. I thought it was good. I love seeing that the championships are being presented on Ring of Honor, but I feel that we sacrificed to get the tag titles back, because now I believe somebody buried Wheeler Yuta somewhere with the Pure Championship. And I'm like, if you were going to put it on him, why is he not in here more often?
Our next match, which was set up earlier in the night, this didn't need a championship in this respect. And we talk about innovation in wrestling. And I mean, Jesse sent me some memes today about Canyon, one of the older wrestlers that probably would have fit in this type of setup much better now than he did in his own day. Slim J's in that mold because he's doing stuff that folks will probably be using as their finisher in like 3 or 4 years, 5 years down the road. As he took on Ethan Page tonight, he had a couple of those ones. He had the package back suplex, which was amazing. He did a couple of big, like, fun, like the weird bulldog thing that he did where he went like full flat out backwards bulldog, which was great. It was just fun to see him because he is older than he looks, and he's so athletic that he can pull off this amazing offense and make Ethan Page look so damn strong.
Look, anytime Slim J pulls off the Skywalker, which has become one of my favorite moves that Slim J has in his arsenal as a thing of beauty, I'm like, how do you make that look so effortless? It is so beautiful. I really enjoyed this match with Ethan Page and Slim J. I thought Slim J doesn't get a lot of credit because of the gimmick that he's working with. He is very Kevin Federline-esque. And I say esque because I respect Slim J more than Kevin Federline, but that's beside the point.
He has talent.
Yeah, ooh. I mean, facts of fact, America. Anyways, I really enjoyed this match, but I think why I enjoyed this more than I did is because commentary always consistently put over both men. But then they made it abundantly clear as Ethan Page was celebrating in the ring. Oh, Ethan Page got 5 wins. Now he can call a shot at a title championship. I'm like, thank you for being consistent with something you said like 3-4 weeks ago about the 5 win in a row rule here in Ring of Honor. I love that Ethan Page has been gaining the momentum since his match against Tony Nese at Final Battle.
Did everyone also enjoy Ethan Page walking back to get a bigger pop coming out too? Like,
Yeah.
He's like, I'm just gonna take care of this. It's perfect.
Honestly, that was my favorite part of this whole match. I hate to say it. No, you know what? I'm going to stand by it. I disagree. This match didn't do it for me. I thought it was just okay. It felt very clunky and very stiff for me, which is not what I'm accustomed to with the Slim J match. Now, I know Ethan Page is bigger in size than the other people Slim J's been, wrestling with over the past few months, but it just didn't do it for me. And the only way I can sum this up is, we have Ethan Page wrestling 2003, and that's it. That's the match.
I will also disagree, but with Jesse, I also enjoyed this match. But, we all obviously had our favorite parts of this. I will say, Jesse, that my match of the night involved the Righteous. But with this match, my favorite thing of this match, and this is not to take away from the action, was this was another engagement with the audience, was Ethan Page when he went up to the corner and he yelled down to someone in the audience. He's like, I'll sign it afterwards, right? Get that pen ready. And he interacted with them. We didn't see afterwards. I'm sure he went over and did that. But it was just a reminder that Ethan Page is a fan of professional wrestling, but he's also he appreciates the fans. And just like Nyla Rose on social media, he does a lot of stuff. He does a lot of interactions, which just makes me appreciate him. Even if he goes heel, I can appreciate who he is as a professional wrestler. And then in the ring, I thought this match had a lot of action in a short amount of time. I actually thought that Slim J was a good heel against Ethan Page, even if Ethan Page isn't full face. Slim J is just kind of a slimy, weaselly kind of character. I thought that worked well against Ethan Page, and the High Flyer versus the Powerhouse I thought was a good matchup.
We got to the next match, which was Billy Starks versus Killa Kate. I was surprised that we didn't have Nyla Rose interference on this, but this was kind of fun for her to do. I love the commentary called out that Billy Starks was pushing Rick Knox around and getting him out of the way, or whatever the referee's name was, basically, because he was in the way for her entrance. She was sort of going heel in certain ways, and she definitely had the electric chair package drop was crazy, but also scary. And then she really sold that elbow off the tope that stopped her from going on it. That was like, ow, I couldn't think my neck would not turn that way, but still.
Stop copying my notes.
I do my best.
This is exactly what I had. I love the cradle package electric chair driver, whatever you want to call it. My concern around that is that going to be her new finish? And is that predicated upon the fact that Serena Deeb is back? And I know, Andrew, you had mentioned that earlier in the week with us, because I hope that's not the case, but like a crystal coffin remains to be seen.
Yeah, I love that. It's kind of like an electric chair inverted power bomb almost. And I like the fact that Billy is strong enough to so far pull it off against a couple of her opponents. I really enjoy Billy's switching, which is kind of funny because I think that works really well against Nyla, because Nyla does the same thing, but it's very different. Like Nyla Rose has this, she's laughing, and that almost makes you more scared of her. And with Billy Stark, she kind of switches from kind of what I think of as like the happy anime girl into like the mean beater. Like she just flips in and out of that so quickly and so easily. I think it really fits for where she came from Athena. I thought the match was long enough for them to be able to show some interesting things, give some adversity, and for Billy to pick up another good win. But I agree with you, JVL, that I was expecting that Nyla was going to come out at some point, even if she just like popped up on the screen or something.
Wasn't there for it. Wasn't there at all, and that's very sad.
I'm gonna keep this short. Billy wins. Yay. It's gonna be
Well,
good.
also, poor Lexi having to both babysit Dalton Castle and also deal with this on the other side. And she's just got a lot going on, so we got to let her be.
She should be getting 2 paychecks as well.
Exactly, Lexi and Lexi. Speaking of backstage interviews and stuff like that, this one didn't need to be on tonight.
No, because we still
was
don't have the
awkward.
brackets.
Yeah, this was awkward, and awkward for the sake of we're setting up a heel turn, but doesn't need to be. And I find it funny because I know Rachel Ellering can be a good heel. I don't think Lila Hirsch can be a good babyface, and she's having trouble being one. And I think that that's the problem here with this entire thing.
That's a big problem. The first thing I wrote down with a bunch of exclamation points was brackets. This is the first time we're hearing about it. We like brackets better than 8 people tag matches, but it's been long enough. Let's get them. Let's see them. Like, we want to see what they are. And I mean, I said that the Slim J and All Ego Ethan Page match was stiff and clunky. You want to talk about stiff? This was just, I did not enjoy watching this promo.
Enough said about all of that. I just like the Nyla Rose appearing in this. This got me hoping that we might actually see the brackets by the end of the night. Let's see this so we can start getting hyped about it. I think we're all excited, but we want to see what those matches up. We're going to see how that tournament's laid out.
Oh, Layla. I love you so much, Layla. But, and I try not to, typecast people, but Layla works better as a heel for me and Rachel as a face. With Layla talking in the way that she was presenting herself, I was waiting her to be like, yo, Adrian. I was like, what is this? Like, what is happening? Like, it was so wooden and so, like, cardboard in the delivery. I thought I was watching another installment of the Rocky movies. I was just like, bro, what is happening right now?
You doing the rest of these?
No, I'm not. Basically, for me, it was, we are friends, yes? Yes, we are friends. We will not turn on each other. No, we will not turn on each other. I hate you. I love and hate you. I hate you more.
You mentioned you made 2 Rocky references, so rest in peace, Carl Weathers, of course.
Yeah, of course.
For sure.
We move into a wonderful match next. One that I'm just going to set up with who's in it and send it over to someone who got to speak to someone in this match all by himself. It was the Infantry versus the Righteous.
I was so happy to see the Righteous back on my screen. I know we talked about it a few weeks ago. I still want another promo from them. I'd like to see how they've grown in that department, but I was so happy they were back. This was a good match. They were given time. It wasn't a squash. The Infantry, who to me is a fantastic tag team, and I really like them as well, was a great matchup for them. There was just small details that I really enjoyed. First off, the Code of Honor spot with Carly Bravo and Dutch just made me laugh so much. It was just that goofy wrestling that we really enjoy and kind of want to have thrive here. There was attention to like small details that to me shows that they're perfecting their craft and getting better and trying to engage not only the crowd but whoever's picking up on the mics, because the mats are mic'd up. Dutch has got one of them in a bear hug, and you can hear Vincent yelling in the corner, squeeze, break him, squeeze. And those kind of things to me are important, and they resonate. Like, they've got such passion for it, and they want this to keep going. They want to get their message across and get other people to believe them as well, which is amazing. This was a fantastic match for me. It was my match of the night. It showed the Righteous having the ability to control the pace of the match, which is important because first 5 minutes of the match, the beginning of the match, they were getting beat because the Infantry were moving so fast. But then they had that one moment and they were able to shift and control the pace, and that pretty much sold the rest of the match for them. I actually did reach out to Vincent because his flying headbutt off of the middle rope, he hit flush. Like, he whacked his face real hard. So I sent him a message like, hey, great match. I saw that. Are you okay? And he responded, sent a message like, yeah, that hurt, but I'm good.
I'm surprised he could still type. But that wasn't the only person that you got in touch with this week either, is it? Someone else came up for air.
Yeah, someone did come up for air, but I would like to hear Mikey and Andrew's reactions on this match first.
We'll do that after that.
First off, I really digged the infantry's...
Perfect. You dig what he's saying?
Yes.
He said the thing.
The infantry's black and white gear to go up against the Righteous wearing, all white. I liked that. I loved that Dutch wasn't sure what to make out of Carly Bravo at the handshake. He was just like, "What? I don't know. What are you doing?" I thought this was a great tag team match. This is what happens when we have people who are tag team wrestlers in tag teams wrestling each other. This is the type of win. These are the wins that the Righteous need to have from now on. They need to be beating the other tag teams in Ring of Honor because they should be the ones that dethrone the Undisputed Empire. Empire era. Sorry. Too many UE things, UK things to win the Ring of Honor tag team titles and hold them on Ring of Honor. This was great. The infantry looked good even in losing because they looked like a really strong tag team just against a stronger tag team. I loved it. I loved Carly Bravo's little snaps before he got his little Carly crossover in there. I love that they were playing to that. Like you said, Jesse, this was great storytelling from everyone involved, and it was phenomenal tag team wrestling, and that always makes me happy. This was my match of the night.
I really enjoyed this match. The infantry, I wasn't too sure of how to, what to make of them when I first saw them, but then the longer we watched them over on Ring of Honor, I become a big fan of theirs. I love when you, as a tag team, are able to kind of blend your comedic style of wrestling, but also know how to flip the switch and become a serious contender in the tag team division, which I think the infantry do very well. And honestly, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but the Righteous have done a very good job, and they have been winning, and they have been putting on really good matches, and Vince and Dutch have literally reconstructed themselves after the embarrassment that they suffered at the hands of the 2-on-1 handicap match.
They are on the right path, and looks like ROH is on the right path.
They are on the right
Just
path.
like someone you spoke to this week.
I did finally get a response. Charlotte is okay. I reached out to them because we haven't seen her in probably about 4 or 5 weeks now. Robin's getting a push, which is awesome, but I got a little concerned. Is she injured? She did finally reach back out to me and said, hey, I'm okay. Thanks for checking in. And she appreciated that we were concerned about her.
Aw, yeah.
Yeah, I got extra worried when Robin showed up on another show, and I was like, okay, now it's the extra weird that
we don't talk about that.
Well, she lost, right?
Yeah, I mean,
of course she did.
Yeah,
I forgot, who'd she fight?
Speaking of someone who's been on both AEW and ROH for a little bit here, Red Velvet had a promo talking about how she was going to be one of the ones to get into this bracket by going through this match, and she's playing up the babyface stuff, and this is where I came out of, like, she was literally just a heel on Dynamite last night.
Babyface.
And now she's a babyface in ROH. And so it's throwing me off because I watch both shows, but I feel like if you're not doing that, it's going to make a lot of sense.
I can tell you.
Her promo is better, though, so.
The promo was so good. I loved it. And I could tell that this is a face run because you want to know why? It's not a stereotype, but this is what I noticed. And just, I've heard Red Velvet say this in interviews, on the independent scene. In order to give herself a distinction between Red Velvet, the heel, and Red Velvet, the face, she's wearing her little Afro puffs. I was like, okay. And it's, for some reason, it's a common consistency because, Naomi/Trinity has said the same thing. Anytime she's in Afro puffs or Afro braids, is like that she's the face. I gotta give it up to Red Velvet. Since returning from injury, I was just like, oh, you have skyrocketed up to one of my favorite women's wrestlers right now.
No, I think this is great. I think this is another example of someone who was getting lost in the mix in other places. Come over to Ring.
Nice.
Yeah. Came over to other places. Came over to Ring of Honor and is finding a place to excel. And and is bringing quality. It's like what they're able to do here is not taking away from anybody else on the roster. It's building the whole roster up. And I feel like in a year, Ring of Honor staples are going to be the world title, by which that I mean what they call the women's world title, the television title, both the men and the women's, and the tag team title, because I think it will be the Righteous that will hold those titles. I think those will be our 4 main divisions in Ring of Honor, and Red Velvet is a great addition to it.
Well, it was a great promo to get us set up for another match that, while entertaining, may not have needed to be on the show tonight. It was kind of a filler match to get in between. So we had Queen Aminata taking on Rraaza Clark, who did give her a run for money in power-wise, but Queen Aminata got to show off a little bit of the smarts and the clever wrestling that she does. But in general, it went longer than I wanted it to in certain ways. It was going to be a squash, and it just kind of bloated the card a bit for me. Nothing against the wrestlers involved. It just didn't need to be there.
I've got nothing to add. It was what it was.
I thought it was a good match. I agree. I think for Ring of Honor weekly shows, I think 8 to 10 matches is about as much as they need to have. That being said, I think if it wasn't on this, I would like to see it somewhere else, because
right,
just like getting to see Red Velvet, I think what we've gotten to see from Queen Aminata has been really helpful in bringing her in and introducing her. She's another one I want her to be a mainstay in Ring of Honor. I love that we're now getting 2 women's titles, so we actually have ways to have multiple women's storylines. And there's a lot of really great women performers in Ring of Honor. Queen Aminata got a chance to show off a little bit in this. I like that we got to see someone who was bigger and stronger than her, so it brought some of that quality to it. And she's another one I'm excited for this tournament.
100%.
I love how much the fan base loves Queen now, in her short, from the time she debuted, like a month and a half ago, to where we are now. Like, the rocket has been strapped to her, and she has kind of gotten over with the fans so well. I agree. I still would have liked to see this match, maybe not necessarily on this particular card of all the matches we got. And I know we try to keep it to Ring of Honor, but I feel that Queen is the type of wrestler that is able to work with anyone. And if you're going to go out of your way to, because Queen technically is in Ring of Honor, if you want to go see, like, probably my favorite match that she's had so far since being in this multiverse of wrestling companies, her match against Chris Statlander was probably the best match that Queen has had so far. And I gotta be honest, this is probably one of my favorite Chris matches too. Like, you want to talk about power? Woo, baby. Holy crap. Those girls tore the house down. And I want a triple threat between those two and Willow. I'm putting it out there in the universe. And Athena. Make it a fatal 4-way. Someone's gonna be bloodied by the end of it. It's gonna be beautiful.
Battle Royal. Just all
yes.
of them. No, I'm just kidding.
But better.
Last woman standing.
With a timer.
20 different women.
An Iron Woman
with
match.
a timer. With a timer.
Yes.
With a timer.
Well, we went from that wonderful match, and like we had talked about, it was definitely a good palate cleanser in certain ways as well, to a match that, I didn't think was going to be as good as it was for what it was. It wasn't the best overall, but Gringo Loco versus Bad Dude Tito from TMDK. These two just kicked the crap out of each other, basically, and ruined each other's nights, and it was wonderful.
Commentary.
Every time Andrew, you go ahead.
Caprice compared Bad Dude Tito to Adam Bomb, and that was all I could see for the rest of the night. I was just watching the singlet he had on, the way he looks. I was like, yep, yeah, he's Adam Bomb.
Exactly what that's the point I was going to make, is every time we see Bad Dude Tito, it's Wild Man Mark Adam Bomb.
Yeah. The intensity that these guys had. Tito almost cleared Gringo Loco when he did the suicide dive. They just went at it. I would not be mad if we get to see more Bad Dude Tito and more TMDK in Ring of Honor. I think they would fit there. And every time we see them, they're just so entertaining.
I thought this was a great match. That Spanish Fly was amazing. I don't even understand how Bad Dude Tito was able to get the full rotation on that. Every time I see him and like how he can move out and freakishly strong and fast and agile and quick as is, I want to see him versus Brian Cage.
Yes.
I think that would be a great match to see. But my one point about this match is, when's the last time Gringo Loco got a win?
He's usually playing the heel in most of the luchador matches too, and he ends up taking the pin a lot too. You're right. He hasn't gotten a win in a very long time.
Well, and even
It'll
the
be
matches.
Gringo Renegade.
Well, and really the matches that he hasn't lost, like he wasn't the one taking the pin. It was multi-people matches. So he wasn't winning those matches, or his team was losing. So yeah, he hasn't had the best record.
Is he Serpentico?
Serpentico Trace.
I mean, to be fair, in Ring of Honor, Gringo Loco doesn't tend to win a lot. Now in GCW, that was a different story. So you guys, this was my match of the night.
Oh.
I am and Andrew knows this very well, I am a huge TMDK fan, only because you have the best technical wrestler of this generation. You have Zack Sabre Jr. as your leader. You can never go wrong with that. And I've always wanted to see more of Bad Dude Tito on his own, because I've known he can put on really stellar matches. Both Gringo Loco and Bad Dude Tito came in like the other owed them lunch money in some capacity, and they just beat the brakes off each other. And the last thing I will say is I want to see more of Bad Dude Tito. I want to see more of TMDK because, Bad Dude Tito is what Wardlow thinks he wants to be. Just putting it out there. But this is my match
I just have
of
a
the night.
clarification question, Mikey. Did you want to see more of Bad Dude Tito?
Oh, yes, I totally do. I thought, I guess I
just want
didn't
to make
say
sure I
that.
got that right.
I'm sorry. I should have made that clear.
But I agree with you also that he is what Wardlow wishes he was. But we moved on from that wonderful match to, we got two Dalton Castle promos in a night. Dalton Castle standing in a mop bucket and Lexi calling out, "I'm not your babysitter.
Yeah.
Get out of the mop bucket." Like this whole thing. And then she goes through everything she can to get any detail on who Dalton's friend is. Obviously, I wrote down Carlton Fort. Obviously, it's Dalton Castle's evil twin. But we're all assuming it's going to be a Dalton Castle in like a mustache or something, right? Like
He doesn't go to this school.
Yes.
He doesn't even go here.
You don't know him. He doesn't go to this school.
Does he have a name? He's a wrestler type of thing. It was evasive, but not in the best way. And then he falls into the laundry thing and just, "I'm done," and waves at her with his foot.
No shoes, one sock.
Fuck.
One sock.
Gold.
You want
Gold.
goofy wrestling at its best, and where they play it as straight.
Yes.
This is what you get, and it is amazing. It helped lift my spirits this evening.
So good.
I think I'm going to go and see if I can find a laundry card online so I can stick it in my office at work and just fall in it when I'm done. Be like, "I'm done." Bye, Lexi.
Yeah. Lexi Nair better win some award, like at the end of the year for backstage personality or something. Like, they're printing money off of her, and every week the people she's working with, so good, so good.
Again, Lexi is so good at what she does. But yeah, I lost it at the line. "I'm not your babysitter."
Get out of the mop bucket.
I just want like a mini series on YouTube with just the misadventures of Dalton Castle. It's just chronically how
I would buy that.
Honestly, I would watch it. That mini series so much.
Would it be more along the lines of like one of the WWE produced documentaries from the 90s, The Self-Destruction of Dalton Castle?
Yes. The slow fall of Dalton Castle.
Dalton, screw Dalton.
Oh my goodness.
We could come to that though, but we got from there, we went over there. We know obviously it's going to be Dalton Castle in a mustache, something else, which we move on to the first of two 4-way survival of the fittest matches. This one with Trish Adora, Red Velvet, Kiera Hogan, and Diamante. The lovers are fighting. Kiera Hogan and Diamante having a little tiff. And I did wonder to myself, have they practiced these moves at home a bit? Because they were a bit cleaner than everyone else's.
The short answer to this is yes, in more ways than one. But anyways, okay. So we got two 4-corner survival matches back to back. this was probably my favorite of the two that we got. I think both of them I enjoyed what I saw in both of them. But yeah, Kiera and Diamante, I was just like, yeah, you could tell that they practice. Like, you could tell. I was kind of surprised to see Trish not do Trish things, I guess the best way to put it. I don't know. Something for me kind of fell off with Trish. And I mean, granted, you have 4 women in the ring all at once, so everyone's got to get their stuff in. But yeah, it felt really weird. And I feel like Trish was just missing from a couple of spots here. And I was like, this is kind of weird because we know Trish is really good in the ring. And I mean, we know she can go in the ring. This just wasn't her night. And you know what? Everyone has an off night. I wonder if she's still feeling the effects of getting the bricks beat off by Julia. Because Lord have mercy, that match is brutal.
I feel like Jesse's got some feelings about this match.
This is a safe space. Express your feelings, and we'll tell you why you're wrong.
This is not a safe space, clearly. We were on the precipice of greatness here. They had such a strong start. Everyone got some moves in. Everybody looked strong. And then all of a sudden it was like, yep, it's been 4 minutes. Wrap it up. Give them time. You didn't need that 4-person one at the end. Yeah, I was happy about Jack Cartwheel, but let the women work. This could have been so good. Instead, it just turned into another mediocre multi-person match that this promotion started to become known for.
Caprice and Ian did jinx it early on because they said in the first 2 minutes, this is great. You don't see this a lot in 4-person matches, but everyone's still in there. It's not 2-on-2. It's not people rolling out of the ring. Everyone's still in there getting their licks in. And
this was the second part where I wrote, Caprice, don't lie to me.
See, I will counter that because I actually liked how it was especially Kiera Hogan, but some of the others seemed to pick up on this too. She played really well to this is a 4-person match. So she would hit one, hit the other, and she did it a couple times, and then others did that as well. And so it felt high-paced and high action. It was shorter than I would like it to be, but at the same time, the way that the ending came, with Red Velvet taking advantage, hitting, in the mix?
In the mix, yeah.
Yeah. To finish it and really take advantage of it, I thought what we got to see was how each of them kind of worked with the stipulation that they were in. I do agree, though, they talk so much about how these multi-women matches are to give them an idea of what the brackets are going to be like for the TV title. That means that these matches should hold some more weight. For me, that means this should have been the main. And then maybe if they made that the main, they could have given them more time, make the men's match a little shorter. But that being said, I did like what we did get to see from them. And I'm hoping that just like it looks like they're paring them down as we get closer and closer. So maybe we'll get, a triple threat next week or something. I don't know. But that seems to be the route that they're going. But I did like to get to see what we saw from the 4 people that were in this match and see a bit of their ring psychology. But yeah, they could have definitely gave them more time to go into depth in that kind of stuff.
Well, we moved on from there, as we talked about, to our other 4-corner survival match, which was 4 different gentlemen. Obviously, the mentioned Jack Cartwheel, Blake Christian, Lee Johnson, and Alex Zane, who I haven't seen in quite a long time on ROH, which was kind of cool to see. Well-worked match in a certain ways. There was a little bit of botchiness there. Very happy to see Jack Cartwheel working. Very surprised by the end. That's all I'll say about that. I'll let it to you. I was very surprised.
Me, can I go, please?
Yes, I have some thoughts too.
Thank
you go first.
Yes, go ahead.
Why was this your main event? First question. I would love an answer to that if anybody has one, even if you're not part of this team. Somebody give me an answer. Even make one up and I'll be happy about it, okay? Blake Christensen using, he used Lee as a weapon, throwing him as he was doing a clothesline. That was a cool spot. Alex Zane's front flip sidewalk slam was a cool spot.
Yes.
Why Lee Johnson? Why? What are we doing? He's not over. The people are not behind him. They're not doing anything with him story-wise. This is his second main event that he's been in, the second that he's won. But why? There's no reasoning behind this. I don't Get it. And I'm not going to say the really mean thing that I said during the past 2 weeks, but you know what I'm talking about. I don't know what we're doing with this.
With his losses in between those two main events,
Yes.
too. Like, he's lost a bunch in between.
Well, and to add on to that, Jack Cartwheel is so over. Like, why is he not winning this? Like, I feel like he's so obviously over in this match. Every time he went to do something, like, the fans were all about it. Like, it felt like, oh, I just call an audible and let him win the match, because he is the one that the fans are cheering for. I agree. It should have been the Proving Ground match, or it should have been the Fatal 4-Way that was before this one. That should have been the main event, because those matches carry weight, and that's what your main event should be. I'll give it a week, maybe 2 weeks, for us to see Blake Christian and Willie Mack tag again together. They brought it up when he came down. They beat an established tag team in the Outrunners last week, and if we don't see anything about that, that's going to irritate me to no end.
Would you want him and Willie Mack to take on Fred Rosser and Filthy Tom Lawlor as the thrown together tag teams?
To see who's going to get a title
Those
shot.
are the dirty misters, thank you.
Yeah. Filthy misters.
Filthy misters, yes.
Yes. So, and what was it? It was oh my goodness, I totally forgot the name. The Heart of Mac.
Yeah, the Heart of Mac.
Heart of Mac,
Yeah.
yep.
So, the flipping sidewalk slam face buster thing, I had to stop and go back and watch that a few times because that was insane. But, I mean, it was a fun match for what it was. I really enjoyed the action. I do not understand why Lee Johnson won. It should have been Jack Cartwheel or Blake Christian that won, because at least it carries on with what's happened. And put Zayn back with Archer so they can become their tag team again, because apparently all that stuff we did with Lance Archer and the Righteous was for nothing. So, don't try to put him back in there.
Cut this match off. Give your women the time.
Yeah.
There's your ending. The way it's set right now for me, and I'm casting judgment right now on this particular episode, the women's 4-way did not deliver as it should have. This match, the men's 4-way, made no sense. Have Dalton Castle's foot waving Lexi goodbye be the ending of the show, and I'd have been happy.
Like I said, the 8 to 10 matches is what they should have every week, and we got 12. We had too many. We could have got, more quality of promos that we know that they can do, or we could have given more time to the matches that could have used it, or I don't know, your show could be a little bit shorter. But yeah, it was a few too many things trying to throw in there, but at least it wasn't 15 of them this week.
Very true. Mikey, you take us home on this one, because I know you have thoughts on this as well.
It's Mikey's match of the night.
Well, it wouldn't be, because I already said what mine was.
I know, I'm just kidding.
Okay, so let me start with the positives. So, I feel very lucky because I have seen more of Alex Zane's work, especially because he did a stint in a little indie promotion, as some of the other Bi-Conics boys calls it, and I thought he fit in really, really well. And so did Blake Christian. They're all over the place. This is where it gets tough. I don't agree that Lee Johnson should have won, but in this weird universe, I understand why he did. Hear me out.
Can you give me the answer that I asked for then?
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Expand on that.
Please.
As the boss, I'm not going to. No, just kidding. No, I will. This is not going to make a whole lot of sense.
Psychological damage, and I can hold you liable for workers' comp claims.
You're fired. No, just kidding.
Yes. All right. Have a good night, boys.
No. I don't necessarily agree with it, but in my little brain of mine, Lee Johnson winning, I feel, and this is the saddest thing, I think because Lee has been on this multiverse roster for a while and we really haven't done anything, if I'm gonna be completely honest, and this is really sad to say because, I know more of Lee Johnson's work in the independents than I do here, because he's presented better on the independent scene than he is on this roster, unfortunately. I feel this was just to give him, be like, hey, you're a reliable hand. Here's a win for you. That's the only reason he won this match, is because this is the pity win in the sense be like, you're very reliable. You don't complain. You're hardworking. Here's a win that means absolutely nothing. If I'm going to be completely honest, and this is just a wild speculation and just a wild theory out there, I don't know how it would work, but honestly, I would love for I want him to interact more with Lee Moriarty, because I feel that Lee Moriarty is the more interesting Lee between the two of them, unfortunately. I think
The two Lees.
I think Johnson's in-ring ability is fantastic when he's able to wrestle, but he is a charisma vacuum. He doesn't do promos, and when he does, they're not necessarily great. Moriarty is really good with both. He has good in-ring talent, and his promo skills, when he's allowed to be himself, can do wonders. This is the only reason why Lee won, is because it's a, hey, good job, kid. Here's a win that, you've been losing so much in your reliable hand. I don't agree with it, but I think you need to do something to inject some sort of excitement into Lee Johnson. I thought we were getting something when he was feuding with Moriarty, but then they cut that thing really quick. And actually, I would kind of like it if Shane Taylor Promotions picked him up and put him underneath their wings and then showed him their ways and then slowly start to corrupt Lee Johnson and give him a bit of an edge. Because I think that three-man, team of Shane Taylor, Lee Moriarty, and Lee Johnson would actually be very fantastic to watch. And it would inject something that Lee Johnson definitely needs. I totally understand with all of us with the consensus that we should have given this win to Jack Cartwheel because he's the most exciting thing. What I'm thinking in terms of long term is that we love Jack Cartwheel with a burning passion because he's the shiny new toy that is in Ring of Honor. What I'm hoping is that we know the athleticism is there, but I need to see Jack cut promos. I need to see him interact with character work because the athleticism is there, but we haven't seen any other facet of it. And I need to be able to see the other two things in terms of promo work and just what direction he wants to go with his character in order for me to be like, okay, he's got all three. Now we can legitimately say he needs to pick up a win here. But all we're getting right now is just the athleticism, and his in-ring charisma is great, but does that translate to character on camera work is the question. And I think he has it, but I need Ring of Honor to give me that opportunity to see that. So while I would love Jack Cartwheel to pick up a win here, I think if they give us too much too quick, he's gonna get discarded and lost in the shuffle if it turns out he can't carry his own on camera with a microphone in hand as well. That's just me.
We'll have to see as we go into the future with that, whether Jack ends up coming around. But we've come to the end of our bro. But before we shake hands and observe the code of honor again, because we again forgot at the beginning, because I forgot this week, what were your empanada scale for this? And we have talked at length about what could have gone where, what could have been there. We just need to know overall, what was this to you?
7.25. Would have been less if the righteous hadn't been on my screen.
I gave this 8.3. It was shorter than last week, heading back in the right direction. There were only 2 squashes. That was really good. Could have been a shorter show, but what we got was some really good stuff. So I enjoyed it for the most part.
Great.
I give this an 8 out of 10 empanadas. I thought for the majority of it, the in-ring work was great. Had some really fun backstage promos as well. Just some minor things that need to be tweaked and improved as they've already been covered in this review. But 8 out of 10. I honestly enjoyed it. And an hour and 45 minutes was so nice compared to the almost 2.5 hour show we had to deal with last week.
I do apologize for not being here for that. I did watch it. I just didn't have to review it. But I gave it a 7.5 out of 10 empanadas because had they restructured the night the better way, it would have been an 8. But we had to have it that way where it was. Gentlemen, hands in. Observe the code of honor if you'd like. Andrew, feel free to kick our hands away. It's okay. We've appreciated it to go through Ring of Honor. We really do enjoy being able to watch this. We're one of the few people that go through and go through Ring of Honor every week with you. We're happy you join us on that journey. And of course, as per usual, for Jesse, for Mikey, for Andrew, and for myself, thank you for being here. And remember that you are Biconic. We're all Biconic here at the Biconic Wrestling channel. and we'll see you in the next video.
Hey.
No, don't put that there. Do not put that where you think you were going to put it right there. No.
Too late.
Sounds like every date I've ever been on.
Ah!